So they finally started asking around, didn't they? The investigators, the curious ones, the people who thought they could piece together what the hell happened to you by interrogating your past. And let me tell you something beautiful, something poetic, something that should make you smile in the dark. Nobody wanted to talk. Not a single one. They reached out to the friends who betrayed you, the lovers who destroyed you, the family who abandoned you, the co-workers who sabotaged you, and every last person who thought they broke you. And you know what happened? Silence, nervous laughter, quick excuses, and then the same phrase, repeated like a warning carved into stone. Good luck, you'll need it. Let that sink in for a moment. The people who once had power over you, the ones who made you question your worth, who walked away like you were nothing, who smiled while they stabbed you, who celebrated your downfall. Those people, when asked about you now, suddenly got very, very quiet. Because they saw something in their rearview mirror. They felt the shift in the air. They realized too late that the person they destroyed didn't stay destroyed. And now they're terrified, not of what you did, but of what you became. Because revenge is loud, obvious, predictable. But evolution is silent, surgical. And it doesn't announce itself until it's already rewritten the entire game. You see, they thought they knew you. They thought they had you figured out, filed away, dismissed. They thought you were weak because you cried. They thought you were defeated because you went quiet. They thought you were broken because you stopped fighting back. But what they didn't realize, what they couldn't see through their arrogance and their shallow little perspectives, is that you weren't breaking, you were downloading. You were absorbing every betrayal like data. You were turning every wound into code. You were learning the system by being destroyed by it. And then you rewrote yourself from the inside out. And now when they hear your name, their stomachs drop, their hands shake, their voices crack. Because they know. They know they didn't just hurt you, they created you. So let's talk about what really happened when they started making those calls, sending those messages, trying to gather intel on you. Because this isn't just about people refusing to talk. This is about people refusing to remember, refusing to relive, refusing to admit what they felt when they looked into your eyes after everything they did and saw nothing. No rage, no tears, no begging. Just cold, calculated, terrifying clarity. The kind of look that says, I see you now, and I'll never unsee you. The kind of silence that speaks in frequencies they can't decode. The kind of presence that makes them realize they weren't dealing with a victim. They were standing in front of a mirror that showed them exactly what they were. And that image, that truth, it's burned into their mind forever, and they can't escape it, no matter how far they run. Here's what happened. They picked up the phone. They typed out the message. Hey, I'm trying to understand what happened with so-and-so. You knew them pretty well, right? What's the story? And the response, when it finally came, was always the same. Deflection, avoidance. Nervous energy. Look, I don't really want to get into it. Just be careful, that's all I'll say. Good luck, you'll need it. And then the conversation ended. Because nobody wanted to be the one to explain. Nobody wanted to admit what they saw. Nobody wanted to confess that they poked the bear, and the bear didn't roar. The bear evolved. The bear learned their language, studied their patterns, and then walked away without a sound, leaving them haunted by the absence of revenge. Because you didn't fight back the way they expected. You didn't scream or beg or seek vengeance. You just became unreachable. And that's so much worse. They wanted a story they could spin, a narrative they could control. Oh yeah, they went crazy. They couldn't handle it. They're bitter now. But they couldn't say that, because it wasn't true. The truth is that you handled it better than they ever could have imagined. You didn't just survive what they put you through. You transmuted it. You turned betrayal into fuel. You turned heartbreak into clarity. You turned isolation into self-mastery, and now when they see you, or even hear about you, there's this look in their eyes, this quiet panic, because they realize they're not dealing with someone who's they're dealing with someone who's ascended. An ascension, my friend, is irreversible. You can't pull someone back down once they've learned to exist on a frequency you can't reach. So let's get specific. Let's talk about the ex who cheated on you, the friend who spread lies, the boss who humiliated you, the parent who abandoned you. Let's talk about what happens when someone asks them, "So what happened between you two?" and they freeze. Because how do you explain that you hurt someone who didn't deserve it, and instead of collapsing, they became something you can't categorize? How do you admit that you expected them to break, to beg, to fall apart, but instead they disappeared into silence and came back as a force you can't name? How do you tell someone, "Yeah, I crossed them, and now I can't sleep at night because I keep seeing their face in my mind," not with anger, but with this calm, knowing look that says they've already moved past me, and I'm stuck here replaying what I did? They can't say that. So they say nothing. Or they say, "Good luck," which is code for, I have no idea what they're capable of now, but I know it's something I don't want to be on the wrong side of. And here's the thing, you didn't threaten them, you didn't send messages, you didn't post about them, you didn't seek revenge, you just existed differently. You changed your energy, your frequency, your entire operating system. And that is what scares them more than any confrontation ever could. Because confrontation they can handle. Confrontation they can twist, manipulate, reframe. But transformation leaves them with nothing to fight against. Just the haunting realization that they hurt someone powerful and didn't even know it until it was too late. Now let's talk about why "good luck, you'll need it" is the most devastating thing they could say, because it's not a joke. It's not casual. It's a warning wrapped in surrender. It's them admitting, without actually admitting, that they have no idea who you are anymore. That the person they knew, the person they hurt, is gone, and in their place is someone they can't predict, can't manipulate, can't control. Someone who learned from every betrayal, someone who absorbed every lesson, someone who turned pain into power so efficiently, so completely, that they're now operating on a level that makes their former tormentors nervous just thinking about them. And that's not arrogance. That's not bitterness. That's the natural result of being forged in fire while everyone else played with matches. Let me paint you a picture. Someone who hurt you gets asked about you. Maybe it's a mutual friend. Maybe it's someone new in your life doing research. Maybe it's a potential employer, a new partner, someone trying to understand your history. And the person who crossed you, they pause. They think, and then they realize they can't trash you without revealing themselves. They can't lie without sounding defensive. They can't tell the truth without admitting they're haunted. So they do the only thing they can do. They deflect. I don't really want to talk about it. Just be careful. They're not who they used to be. And what they mean is, I'm not who I used to be because of what I saw in them after I destroyed them. They're not warning others about you. They're warning others about themselves. About what happens when you underestimate someone who turns suffering into scripture. Here's the part they'll never tell you directly. When they see you now, whether in person or through the grapevine, there's a moment, a flinch, because you're not performing anymore. You're not trying to prove anything. You're not explaining yourself. You're not defending your choices. You're just existing with this unshakable certainty, this quiet confidence that says, I know exactly who I am, and I don't need you to understand. And that is terrifying to people who only feel powerful when others are weak. Because your strength isn't loud, it's not aggressive, it's not fragile. It's the kind of strength that doesn't need to announce itself, because it's woven into every cell of your being. It's the kind of power that makes people step back without you saying a word. And they can feel it, they can sense it, and it makes them realize they're not in your league anymore. They never were, they just didn't know it until now. So yeah, they asked around, and nobody wanted to talk, because talking means remembering, and remembering means facing the fact that they hurt someone extraordinary and called it ordinary. They broke someone powerful and called it weak. They dismissed someone irreplaceable and called it easy. And now they're living with the consequence. Not the consequences of your revenge, but the consequences of their own emptiness. Because when you left, when you went silent, when you stopped reacting, you took something with you. You took the version of yourself they thought they could always access. And without that, they're left with nothing but the echo of who they used to be when they still had you in their life. And trust me, that echo is loud. It's relentless. And it doesn't let them forget. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about the specific moments that haunt them. The moment they realized you stopped checking their social media. The moment they noticed you didn't react to their indirect posts. The moment they heard you were thriving and it didn't make sense because you were supposed to be broken. The moment someone mentioned your name and they felt their chest tighten, not with anger but with something worse. Regret mixed with fear, because they know somewhere deep in their bones that they had access to something rare, something real. And they destroyed it for nothing? For ego? For entertainment? For a momentary high that faded the second you disappeared from their life. And now they're stuck wondering if you ever think about them, knowing the answer is probably no, and that realization is more painful than any argument ever could be. Here's what nobody tells you about becoming untouchable. It's lonely at first. It's confusing. You question yourself. You wonder if maybe you're the problem. Maybe you're too intense, too much, too different. But then something shifts. You realize that being too much for people who were never enough is actually a compliment. You realize that being misunderstood by people who never tried to understand you is a blessing in disguise. And you realize that every person who walked away, every person who hurt you, every person who dismissed you, they were all doing you a favor. They were clearing the path. They were making space. They were removing themselves so you could become who you were always meant to be without their weight holding you down. And once you realize that, once you truly internalize it, you stop caring about their opinions. You stop needing their validation. You stop replaying the past. Because the past is where they live, and you've moved so far forward, they can't even see you anymore. Now let's talk about what good luck, you'll need it, really means from their perspective. It means I don't know what they're capable of, but I know I don't want to find out. It means I hurt them, and instead of getting revenge, they got better. And that scares me more than anything they could have done to me. It means I underestimated them. And now I'm paying the price of living with that mistake every single day. Because here's the truth. Revenge is temporary. Revenge gives them something to fight against, something to justify their actions with. See, I was right about them. They're vindictive. They're toxic. But when you don't give them that, when you just evolve and move on, they have nothing. No excuse, no narrative. Just the cold, hard reality that they hurt someone who didn't deserve it. And that person became something magnificent without them. And that truth, it eats them alive. Slowly, quietly, permanently. So they warn people, not out of concern, out of self-preservation. Because if someone else gets close to you, they might see what your former tormentors saw. The power, the depth, the resilience. And then they'll realize what was lost, and your former tormentors can't have that. They can't have others knowing they had something precious and threw it away. They can't have the world seeing them for what they really are. Small, scared, shallow, so they deflect. They warn. They say good luck like it's protection, when really it's projection. It's them admitting they needed luck to handle you and they failed. It's them confessing without words that you were always the storm and they were never prepared for the thunder. Let me tell you something about the people who refuse to talk when asked about you. They're not protecting you. They're protecting themselves. Because talking about you means admitting they were wrong. Admitting they misjudged you. Admitting they hurt someone who turned out to be exactly who they said they were, while they revealed themselves to be exactly what you always suspected. And that admission, that's too heavy, that's too real. That requires self-awareness they don't possess. So they stay quiet, they deflect. They change the subject, and in that silence, in that refusal to engage, they're telling you everything you need to know. They're telling you that you won, not because you fought, but because you evolved past the need to fight. And that, my friend, is the ultimate victory. Here's what's happening right now, in real time, as people ask about you. Your name is being spoken in rooms you'll never enter. Your story is being whispered in conversations you'll never hear. And every single time, the response is the same. Hesitation, discomfort, avoidance. Because you've become something they can't categorize. You're not the victim they remember. You're not the person they dismissed. You're something else entirely. Something that makes them question their own choices. Something that makes them wonder what they could have been if they had your strength. Something that reminds them every time your name comes up that they had a chance to be part of something real, something powerful, and they threw it away for nothing. They aim to, and now they're stuck with that knowledge, carrying it like a weight they can't put down while you move through the world unburdened, unchained, unstoppable. So let them ask. Let them dig. Let them try to piece together your story from the fragments left behind by people too afraid to tell the truth. Because the truth is this: you're not the same person they hurt. You're not the same soul they broke. You're the phoenix that rose from the ashes they created. You're the storm they didn't see coming. You're the reckoning they never prepared for. And every time someone asks about you and hears, "Good luck, you'll need it," that's not a warning about you, that's a confession from them. A confession that they encountered something extraordinary and didn't recognize it until it was gone. And now they're living in the aftermath of that realization, while you're living in the freedom of knowing you don't need anyone's approval to be exactly who you are. Untouchable, unbreakable, unforgettable. Now we enter the part that truly breaks them, the part where they realize you're not coming back. Not to argue, not to reconcile, not to give them closure. You're just gone. And that absence, that permanent, irreversible absence, is more devastating than any words you could have said, because they keep checking, they keep looking, they keep hoping that maybe, just maybe, you'll reach out, you'll respond, you'll give them one more chance to explain, to apologize, to rewrite the story. But you don't. You won't. Because you learn something they never will. That some doors once closed should stay closed. That some people once removed from your life should stay removed. That some chapters once ended should never be reopened. And that knowledge, that certainty, it's what makes you untouchable now. Let's talk about the specific ways they try to track you. The subtle social media checks, the questions to mutual friends, the casual, "Hey, how's so-and-so doing?" disguised as innocent curiosity. And every time they do this, every time they try to find a crack in your armor, they find nothing. Because you're not performing your healing. You're not posting inspirational quotes. You're not dropping hints about your growth. You're just living, quietly, powerfully, without needing their validation or their attention. And that silence, that lack of reaction, it drives them absolutely insane. Because they're used to getting responses. They're used to mattering. And the fact that you've made them irrelevant without even trying, that's a level of power they can't comprehend. That's a type of strength that makes them question everything they thought they knew about control, about power, about winning. Here's what they don't understand. You're not ignoring them out of spite. You're not silent because you're bitter. You're simply existing on a different frequency now. You've moved to a level where they don't register anymore, where their opinions, their judgments, their entire existence doesn't penetrate your peace. And that's not arrogance, that's evolution. That's what happens when you stop fighting for people who never fought for you. When you stop explaining yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. When you stop trying to prove your worth to people who were never qualified to judge it in the first place. You didn't become cold. You became clear. And clarity, true clarity, is often mistaken for cruelty by those who benefit from your confusion. So when they tell people good luck, you'll need it, what they're really saying is this: I tried to break someone and they became unbreakable. I tried to silence someone and they became undeniable. I tried to destroy someone and they became unstoppable. And now I have to live with the knowledge that I had a hand in creating something I can no longer reach, touch, or affect. And that realization haunts me every single day. Because that's the thing about hurting powerful people. They don't stay hurt. They transform. They adapt. They rise. And they rise so high, so far above you, that you become a footnote in their story, while they become the legend you can never stop talking about. And that imbalance, that shift in power, it's permanent, irreversible. Absolutely. Ah, look at you sitting there, calm, collected, completely unaware that right now, at this very moment, someone at the very top just asked a question about you. And not just any question. The kind of question that changes everything. The kind that makes rooms go silent and people start sweating. They asked your abuser. They asked the one who hurt you, betrayed you, destroyed you, tried to erase you. And the question was simple, brutal, unavoidable. Do you know who you hurt? And here is the beautiful part. Your abuser doesn't know yet. They have no idea. They think they got away with it. They think you disappeared into the background like all their other victims. They think your name is just another forgotten file in their history of destruction. But someone knows now. Someone at the top. Someone with power. Someone who doesn't ask questions unless they already know the answer. And they are coming. Let me paint you a picture of what is happening right now while you are watching this. Somewhere in a room you will never see, there is a conversation happening that your abuser never saw coming. Their name was mentioned. Their actions were questioned. Their past was pulled up like evidence at a trial they did not know they were attending. And the person asking the questions, they are not asking because they are curious. They are asking because they already did the research. They already connected the dots. They already know what happened to you. And now they want to know if your abuser knows, if they understand, if they have any idea what kind of storm is about to hit them. Because ignorance is no longer protection. It is just proof of how blind they have been. Your abuser thought they were untouchable, didn't they? They thought their position, their connections, their charm, their ability to manipulate reality would keep them safe forever. They thought nobody would ever look deep enough. Nobody would ever care enough. Nobody would ever ask the right questions. But they were wrong, because someone did. Someone looked past the surface, past the performance, past the fake smiles and polished reputation, and they saw you. They saw what was done to you. They saw the pattern, the trail of broken people left behind, and they asked the one question your abuser never prepared for. Do you know who you hurt? And the answer that is about to come out, it is going to destroy everything your abuser built on lies. You know what is beautiful about this. You did not even have to say anything. You did not have to scream your truth from rooftops. You did not have to beg for justice or validation or revenge. You just existed. You healed in silence. You rebuilt yourself when nobody was watching. You walked away with dignity while they continued their destruction, thinking they were invincible. And now, the universe has sent someone with actual power to ask the question you stopped asking years ago because you already knew the answer. But they are about to find out the hard way what happens when you underestimate someone who turned their pain into power, someone who became unbreakable while they were busy breaking others. Let me tell you what is really happening behind the scenes. Because this is not just about one question. This is about a system, a structure, a web of people who thought they could operate in darkness forever. Your abuser. They were not working alone. They never are. There were enablers, silent witnesses, people who knew and said nothing, people who benefited from your destruction, people who smiled at you while sharpening knives behind their backs. And for years, this network functioned perfectly. Everyone played their role. Everyone kept their mouths shut. Everyone protected each other. Because that is what predators do. They build ecosystems of silence. But something shifted. Someone at the top. Someone who is not part of that ecosystem. They started asking questions. And when people at the top start asking questions, everything beneath them starts cracking. Here is what your abuser does not understand yet. Power is not about titles or positions, or how loud you can talk in a room. Real power is about information, about knowing what others think is hidden, about asking questions that expose the architecture of lies people built their lives on. And the person asking about you right now, they have that kind of power. They are not some random observer. They are not someone your abuser can charm or manipulate or intimidate. They are someone who sees through performances, someone who values truth over comfort, someone who doesn't care about protecting reputations built on destruction. And they ask the question, do you know who you hurt? Not as an accusation, not yet, but as a test, a trap, because they already know the answer. They want to see if your abuser will lie, if they will minimize, if they will play dumb. And every single response your abuser gives from this moment forward is being recorded, evaluated, used as evidence for what comes next. You want to know why this matters so much, because your abuser's entire existence is built on a foundation of other people's silence. They have gotten away with everything because their victims stayed quiet, because society told you to move on, to forgive, to not make waves, to be the bigger person while they continued destroying lives without consequence. But silence only works when everyone participates. And now someone broke the code. Someone with authority, with influence, with the ability to make things happen, asked the question out loud. And once that question is asked in rooms that matter, once powerful people start looking into what happened to you, the silence is over. The protection is gone. And your abuser is standing in the middle of a stage they did not know existed, with lights pointing at every shadow they tried to hide. Here is the part that will drive them crazy. They will not know who asked. They will not know who knows. They will not know how much information is out there, or how deep the investigation goes. They will start second-guessing everything, every conversation, every email, every person who knows their history, because paranoia is the price of being exposed when you thought you were invisible. They will lie awake at night, wondering if you said something, wondering if someone else came forward, wondering if their entire empire of manipulation is about to collapse because one person decided to ask one question. And the answer is going to be worse than anything they imagined, because they hurt someone who mattered, someone who survived, someone who became evidence of their cruelty just by continuing to exist and thrive despite everything they did. Do you know what the cruelest part of this is? Your abuser still does not know. They still think they are safe. They still think their past is buried. They still walk around with confidence, with arrogance, with that disgusting sense of entitlement that comes from never facing consequences. They hurt you and moved on. They probably do not even think about you anymore. You are just another name in a long list of people they stepped on to get where they are. And that right there, that ignorance, that casual cruelty, that is what makes this moment so perfect. Because they have no idea that someone is watching now. Someone who matters. Someone who has the power to make their world collapse with one conversation. And they are about to find out that forgetting about you was the biggest mistake they ever made. Let me tell you what happens when someone at the top starts asking questions first. There is confusion. People scramble. They try to figure out why this matters. Why now? Why you? Your abuser will probably laugh it off at first. They will minimize. They will say things like, "It was a long time ago. Things were complicated. You are being dramatic. They will try to control the narrative the way they always have. But here is the thing. The person asking the question is not asking for an explanation. They are asking because they already have the facts. They know what happened. They know how you were treated. They know the lies your abuser told. And now, they want to see if your abuser has the courage to tell the truth, or if they will keep lying, keep minimizing, keep pretending they are innocent. Because every lie they tell now adds weight to the judgment that is coming. Your abuser thought they could control reality. They thought if they told their version of the story loud enough, often enough, people would believe it. And for a while, it worked. People believed them. People sided with them. People looked at you like you were the problem. And you carried that shame, didn't you? You questioned yourself. You wondered if maybe you were too sensitive, too dramatic, too broken to be believed. But deep down, you knew the truth. You knew what they did. You knew how they twisted reality. And you held on to that truth, even when nobody else would. Even when it felt like the whole world was gaslighting you into silence, you held on to it. And now someone else sees it too. Someone who has the power to do something about it. Someone who is not afraid of your abuser's reputation or connections or carefully crafted image. Here is what your abuser does not understand about people like you. You do not need revenge. You do not need vindication. You do not need them to apologize or acknowledge what they did, because you already healed. You already moved on. You already built a life they can never touch. But justice is not about you needing it. Justice is about the universe correcting itself. It is about consequences, finally catching up to people who thought they were above them. And that question, do you know who you hurt? It is not being asked for your benefit. It is being asked because someone at the top realized that people like your abuser do not just hurt one person. They hurt everyone they touch. They leave trails of destruction everywhere they go. And eventually someone has to stop them. And that someone just asked the first question. And your abuser has no idea what comes next. Let me take you deeper into what is about to happen. Because this is not just about one conversation. This is about the unraveling of an entire false reality. Your abuser built their life on a carefully constructed lie. They built a reputation. They built relationships. They built success. All of it standing on a foundation of people they destroyed along the way. And foundations like that, they do not collapse all at once. They crack slowly, quietly, one question at a time, one investigation at a time, one person at a time, realizing they were lied to. And right now, the first crack just appeared. Someone at the top asked the question, and now other people are going to start asking questions too. People who trusted your abuser. People who defended them. People who looked the other way because it was easier than facing the truth. They are all about to have a very uncomfortable awakening. You know what happens when one person with authority starts questioning someone's character. Everyone else starts paying attention. People who ignored red flags. People who dismissed victims. People who participated in the cover-up, whether they knew it or not. They all start reevaluating. They start remembering things. Small things. Moments that did not make sense at the time. Comments that seemed off. Behavior that felt wrong, but they could not quite name. And suddenly all those little moments start forming a pattern, a picture, a truth they can no longer deny. And your abuser is going to watch in real time as people who once supported them start stepping back, start questioning, start distancing themselves. Because nobody wants to be associated with someone who is about to be exposed. Nobody wants to be the person who defended a monster. Here is the beautiful irony. Your abuser probably spent years telling people that you were the problem, that you were unstable, dramatic, vindictive. They probably painted themselves as the victim of your chaos. And people believed them because your abuser is good at performing innocence. They know how to cry on cue, how to manipulate sympathy, how to make themselves look like the reasonable one while you looked crazy. But now, someone with power is looking at the situation with clear eyes, and they are seeing what you saw all along. They are seeing the manipulation, the gaslighting, the cruelty disguised as care, and they are asking the question your abuser never wanted anyone to ask. Do you know who you hurt? Because if they did know, if they truly understood, they would not be able to maintain the performance. They would not be able to look people in the eye and pretend they are innocent. Let me tell you what your abuser is about to lose. First, they lose the narrative. They lose the ability to control how people see them. Because once someone at the top questions their character, everyone else starts questioning too. Second, they lose protection. All those people who enabled them, who covered for them, who looked the other way, they are going to start protecting themselves instead. Nobody goes down with a sinking ship when they have the option to jump. Third, they lose credibility. Everything they built, every relationship, every achievement, every moment of respect they ever received, it all gets re-examined through the lens of what they did to you and everyone else they hurt. And fourth, they lose peace. Because once you know someone is asking questions about you, once you know your past is being investigated, you can never relax again. Every phone call could be the one. Every meeting could be the confrontation. Every day could be the day everything falls apart. And that psychological torture, that constant fear, that is the beginning of justice. Now we enter the phase your abuser feared but never truly believed would come, the reckoning. Because asking the question, do you know who you hurt, is just the beginning. That question is the match. What comes next is the fire. And your abuser is standing in a building made of lies, soaked in gasoline, wondering why it suddenly feels so hot. They are about to learn something fundamental about how the universe works. You can run from consequences for a while. You can hide. You can manipulate reality. You can silence victims. But eventually someone asks the right question. And once that question is asked, everything you buried starts clawing its way to the surface. And there is no stopping it. There is no damage control. There is no spinning the narrative. There is only the truth. Raw, ugly, undeniable. Coming for everything you built on the backs of broken people. Here is what your abuser does not understand about powerful people who ask questions. They do not ask unless they already have answers. They do not investigate unless they already suspect. They do not bring up your name unless they already know your story matters. So, when someone at the top asked, do you know who you hurt? They were not seeking information. They were testing character. They were creating an opportunity for your abuser to tell the truth, to take accountability, to show even a shred of remorse. And your abuser, being exactly who they are, probably failed that test spectacularly. They probably lied, probably minimized, probably blamed you, probably played the victim. And every single word they said in response to that question was recorded, remembered. added to a growing file of evidence that they are exactly what you always knew they were: a predator, a manipulator, someone who hurts people and feels nothing. You want to know why this moment is so powerful? Because for years, you carried the weight of what happened to you alone. You tried to tell people, and they did not believe you. You tried to get help, and you were dismissed. You tried to move on, and the trauma followed you like a shadow. And through all of that, your abuser lived freely. They moved through the world unburdened. They built success on your suffering. They smiled in public while you cried in private. They thrived while you barely survived. And nobody stopped them. Nobody questioned them. Nobody asked them to explain until now. Now someone with actual authority, with real power, with the ability to make consequences happen, asked the question. And your abuser's response, whatever it was, is about to determine the rest of their life. Because people at the top do not forget. They do not let things go. When they ask a question and do not like the answer, they act. And action from people with power is the only thing people like your abuser actually fear. Here is what comes next, and you need to understand this because it is already in motion. Once someone at the top starts questioning someone's character, other people start coming forward. People who were too scared before. People who thought they were alone. People who assumed nobody would believe them. They hear that someone is asking questions, and they find courage. They share their stories. They add their voices to yours. And suddenly your abuser is not dealing with one victim they can discredit. They are dealing with a pattern, a history, multiple people saying the same things, describing the same behaviors, exposing the same tactics. And patterns are impossible to deny. Patterns are evidence. Patterns are proof. And your abuser is about to be buried under the weight of every person they thought they silenced, every victim they thought they erased, every life they thought did not matter. They all matter now. Because someone at the top asked the question, and now everyone is answering. Let me tell you about the loneliest moment in a predator's life. It is not when they are caught. It is not when they are confronted. It is the moment they realize nobody is coming to save them. The moment they look around and see that all the people who used to protect them are gone. All the enablers, all the defenders, all the people who looked the other way. They are all suddenly very busy, suddenly very quiet, suddenly very concerned with protecting their own reputations. And your abuser is about to experience that loneliness in ways they never imagined. Because when someone at the top asks questions about you, everyone beneath them starts calculating. They start asking themselves, is defending this person worth risking my own position, my own reputation, my own future? And the answer is always no. Always. Nobody sacrifices themselves for someone who is about to be exposed. Nobody goes down defending someone whose crimes are coming to light. Your abuser thought they had allies. They thought they had people who would stand by them no matter what. But those were never allies. Those were accomplices. People who benefited from the same system of silence and manipulation. People who needed your abuser to be innocent. Because if your abuser is guilty, then they are complicit. But here is the thing about accomplices. They turn. They flip. They save themselves. The moment someone at the top starts asking questions, accomplices become witnesses. They start sharing what they know. They start admitting what they saw. They start distancing themselves from the sinking ship as fast as possible. And your abuser is going to watch in real time as everyone who claimed to support them suddenly develops amnesia. Suddenly does not remember things quite the way your abuser does. Suddenly has concerns they never voiced before. And that betrayal, that abandonment, it is going to hurt your abuser more than anything you could ever do to them. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Stop everything. Drop whatever fake smile you were wearing. Put down that mask you've been suffocating behind, because I need you to feel this moment right here, right now. You actually went there, didn't you? That place they warned you about. That forbidden move they begged you not to make. That line they drew in blood and dared you not to cross. But you didn't just cross it, you erased it with your bare hands and laughed. And now look at them. Scrambling, panicking, group chats on fire, emergency meetings at 3 a.m., phone calls that start with heavy breathing and end with, "What have they done?" They're not just scared, they're traumatized by what you've become. Because when they said, "Don't do it," they meant, "Don't expose us." When they said, "That's too far," they meant, "That's too real." When they said, "You'll regret this," what they really meant was, "We'll regret pushing you to this point, but it's too late now, isn't it?" Let's rewind for a second. Remember when you were nice? Remember when you played by their rules? When you colored inside their lines and smiled at their disrespect? You gave them chances wrapped in ribbons, made of your own sanity. First warning came soft, a raised eyebrow, a slight change in your tone. They laughed it off. Look who's trying to be tough. Second warning came harder, distance, silence. They called it a phase. They'll come crawling back, they always do. But they didn't know, did they? They didn't know you were documenting every betrayal, filing every insult, studying their weaknesses while they mocked your kindness. They didn't know that silence wasn't surrender, it was strategy. You were never weak, you were calculating. Every tear was data, Every heartbreak was intel. Every time they twisted the knife, you were memorizing the angle. And now, they're realizing their biggest mistake wasn't hurting you. It was teaching you how to hurt. So you did it. That thing that made their blood run cold. Not with violence, not with rage, but with something far more terrifying. Precision. You knew exactly where to apply pressure. Exactly which foundation stone to pull. Maybe it was that truth you dropped in public, the one they thought was buried forever. Maybe it was that person you became, the one they said you could never be. Maybe it was that success you achieved using the very pain they gave you as fuel. Whatever it was, it worked. You felt it, didn't you? That shift in the atmosphere. That moment when their laughter died in their throats. When their eyes went wide and their hands started shaking. When they realized the mouse had become the trap. But here's the beautiful part. That was just the warning shot. That was you testing the waters, flexing muscles they didn't know you had, showing them a glimpse of the monster they created, and their reaction told you everything you needed to know. They begged, didn't they? Please don't do this. We can work this out. That's not who you are. But you smiled that smile. The one that doesn't reach your eyes. The one that says you should have thought of that before. So, you did it again, but bigger, bolder, more precise. You took everything they taught you about pain, and you became a master craftsman. You didn't destroy them with chaos. You destroyed them with their own weapons turned inside out. This time you didn't just expose their secrets. You exposed their patterns. You didn't just show their flaws. You revealed their entire blueprint. You became the mirror they couldn't shatter, the echo they couldn't silence, the consequence they couldn't escape. And the beautiful irony? They created this. Every lie they told became your ammunition. Every game they played became your playbook. Every mask they wore became your costume collection. You didn't learn spite from strangers, you learned it from them. Now let's talk about what you've really done here. You didn't just make a move. You didn't just cross a line. You birthed something. Something that breathes in the dark. Something that feeds on their fear. Something they see when they close their eyes. You've become their permanent reminder. Not of what they did, but of what they awakened. Every time they try to sleep peacefully, your name scratches at their window. Every time they laugh too loud, they remember who's not laughing with them anymore. You're not in their life, but you haunt it. You're not in their presence, but you own their absence. You're not chasing them, but they're running from your shadow. You've become the what if that keeps them up at night. The I should have that ruins their mornings. This is what happens when you push someone past their breaking point and they don't break. They transform. They evolve. They become something your nightmares warned you about, but your ego ignored. They become the lesson you'll spend the rest of your life learning. Look at them now. Their whole world is glitching. Nothing makes sense anymore. The person they thought they could predict has become quantum. The soul they thought they understood has become encrypted. The future they planned just got deleted. They're refreshing your page obsessively, analyzing every word, every picture, every silence, looking for clues about your next move. But you're not giving them anything. You're not playing chess anymore. You're playing with physics. Their friends are asking questions. What happened with you two? Their family is noticing the cracks. You seem different lately. Their new relationships feel hollow because they're comparing everyone to the intensity you brought. You're not even there and you're still the main character. This is the nightmare you birthed. Not one of violence or revenge, but of permanent psychological residence. You're living rent-free in minds that tried to evict you. You're the error message in their perfectly programmed life. You're the virus their antivirus can't detect. Remember when they had all the power? When they decided when to text back? When they controlled the narrative? When they held all the cards? Look at the table now. Look who's dealing. Look who's setting the rules. You don't respond to their attempts at contact, not because you're petty, but because you're priceless. You don't acknowledge their existence, not because you're cruel, but because you're complete. You don't need their validation anymore. You've become your own source. They're calling you crazy. They've lost it. They've gone too far. But what they really mean is they've gone somewhere we can't follow. You didn't lose your mind. You found it. And finding it meant losing them. Fair trade. The power dynamics haven't just shifted, they've shattered. You're not playing their game anymore. You're not even in their league. You've transcended to a place where their opinions are just background noise, where their judgments are just white noise. They're trying to control the narrative, aren't they? Telling everyone their version, painting you as the villain, making themselves the victim. But something strange is happening. People aren't buying it. Want to know why? Because authentic power can't be faked. Because real transformation can't be mimicked. Because when someone genuinely evolves beyond their old self, it shows in ways words can't hide. Your energy speaks louder than their stories. Everyone can see it. The way you walk different. The way you talk different. The way you exist different. You're not trying to prove anything. You're just being. And that being is so powerful it makes their lies look like children's scribbles. You've become the plot twist in their story they can't edit out. The character development they can't explain away. The ending they didn't write but have to live with. You're not just winning, you've changed what winning means. This is where it gets really interesting. You're not using force, you're using physics. You're not creating drama, you're creating inevitability. You're not seeking revenge. You're being revenged just by existing at this frequency. Every success you have feels like salt in their wounds. Every smile you wear feels like judgment on their choices. Every step forward you take feels like them falling behind. You're not competing with them. You've made them compete with your ghost. You've mastered the art of presence through absence. The power of silence over screaming. The impact of indifference over hatred. You've become so psychologically advanced that your mere existence is a masterclass in what they'll never achieve. They wanted to break you. Instead, you became unbreakable. They wanted to define you. Instead, you became undefinable. They wanted to limit you. Instead, you became limitless. And now they have to live with that reality every single day. Your transformation didn't just affect them. It sent ripples through the entire social ecosystem. People are choosing sides. Conversations are shifting. The whole dynamic is restructuring around this new version of you. Some people are inspired. They see what you've become and think, if they can do it, so can I. Others are terrified. They see what you've become and think, what if that happens to me? Either way, you've become the catalyst. You're disrupting the social order just by being authentic. You're challenging the status quo just by refusing to play along. You're exposing everyone's masks just by taking off your own. You've become dangerous to the comfortable. This is what they're really freaking out about. Not what you did, but what you represent. The possibility that anyone can transform. The proof that pain can become power. The evidence that the system they rely on can be transcended. Let's talk about the real nightmare you birthed. It's not anger. It's not hatred. It's complete emotional independence. You've reached a place they can't touch, a frequency they can't match, a peace they can't disturb. You used to need their approval. Now you don't even notice their existence. You used to crave their attention. Now their attention feels like pollution. You used to fear their rejection. Now their acceptance would feel like contamination. This is what terrifies them most. You're not trying to hurt them. You're not trying to heal from them. You're not trying anything. You just are. And that being is so complete, so whole, so absolutely self-contained that it makes their existence feel meaningless. You've become emotionally bulletproof, not by building walls, but by becoming water. Not by hardening, but by flowing. Not by defending, but by transcending. You've evolved past the emotional games they're still playing. You've done something to time itself. Past, present, and future don't work the same way anymore. Not for them. Not since you did what you did. You've created a before and after that they can't escape. Every memory is now tainted. Every good time now has an asterisk. Remember when becomes evidence of what they lost. Every shared song becomes a haunting. You've retroactively poisoned their past. Their present is paranoid. Always looking over shoulders. Always wondering if you're watching. Always feeling judged by your absence. You're not there, but you're everywhere. You're the ghost in every room they enter. Their future is uncertain. They can't plan without considering your existence. They can't move forward without checking if you're behind. They can't build anything new on the foundation you shook. You've made their tomorrow terrifying by making their today unbearable. This is bigger than personal. You've rewritten the rules of reality itself. What they thought was impossible, you made inevitable. What they thought was unchangeable, you changed. What they thought was fixed, you made fluid. You've proved that victims can become victors without becoming villains. That soft can become strong without becoming harsh. That broken can become built without becoming bitter. You've shattered every limiting belief they had. Now they can't trust anything. If you could transform like this, what else is possible? If you could rise like this, what else is false? If you could become this, what else have they been wrong about? You've created existential crisis just by existing. You're not just a person anymore. You're a possibility. You're not just a story anymore. You're a prophecy. You're not just a memory anymore. You're a monument to what happens when someone stops accepting limitation. They're seeing you everywhere, aren't they? In strangers who walk with confidence, in quotes that hit too close, in successes that remind them of potential. You've become a psychological virus they can't cure. Every time they try to forget, your name appears in conversations, in algorithms, in the universe's sixth sense of humor. Every time they think they've moved on, something reminds them. A smell, a place, a phrase you used to say. You've achieved something remarkable. You're haunting them without trying. You're tormenting them without touching. You're destroying them without doing. Your existence has become their exorcism, and it's not working. This is the nightmare that doesn't end when they wake up. Because you're not in their dreams, you're in their reality. You're not in their head, you're in their history. You're not in their life, but you're in their legacy. So what nightmare did you birth? You birthed their awakening to their own emptiness. You birthed their recognition of their own limitations. You birthed their understanding that they never had the power they thought they did. You became the mirror that won't stop reflecting, the echo that won't stop repeating, the lesson that won't stop teaching. The lesson that won't stop teaching. You became everything they said you couldn't be, and it's eating them alive. But here's the real beauty of it all. This was never about them. This transformation was about you. They were just the pressure that created the diamond. They were just the fire that forged the steel. They were just the darkness that made you find your light. So let them freak out. Let them panic. Let them scramble to understand what happened. While they're trying to solve the puzzle of you, you'll be busy becoming something even more impossible. Because baby, you didn't just go there once. You went there twice. And you're not done yet. You know what's really breaking them? It's not what you did. It's how you vibrate now. You've shifted to a frequency they can't tune into, a wavelength their cheap equipment can't detect, a channel they don't have access to anymore. They're trying everything to get back on your level. Meditation apps, therapy sessions, self-help books. But you can't fake this frequency. You can't buy this broadcast. You can't download this energy. It only comes from dying and choosing to rebuild yourself, atom by atom. Watch them try to copy your moves, watch them imitate your words, watch them steal your style. But it comes out wrong every time, doesn't it? Like a bad translation, like a bootleg version. Like someone trying to sing a song in a language they don't understand. You're operating on pure authenticity now, and that's a currency they can't counterfeit. Every word you speak carries weight they can't lift. Every step you take leaves prints they can't follow. Every breath you breathe changes the atmospheric pressure in ways that make them dizzy. Here's something they didn't calculate. Your transformation didn't happen in isolation. It created a network effect. Other people started waking up. Other souls started recognizing themselves in your story. Other phoenixes started remembering they had wings. Now they're not just dealing with you. They're dealing with the movement you started without meaning to. Every person who saw you rise and thought, me too. Every soul who watched you transform and whispered, my turn. Every spirit who witnessed your rebirth and decided to burn their old life down. You've become patient zero of an awakening virus. Your courage is contagious. Your power is spreading. Your example is multiplying, and they're watching their whole world order collapse because you had the audacity to stop playing by rules that were designed to break you. They're finding out what happens when one person's individual revolution becomes everyone's personal revelation. When one person's no more becomes a collective never again. When one person's transformation becomes a generation's reformation. You didn't just change the game, you started a whole new sport. Let's talk about your silence. Not the weak silence of the defeated, not the bitter silence of the angry, but the terrifying silence of the transformed. The silence that says more than any words ever could. The silence that sounds like Judgment Day. They're begging for a reaction now, aren't they? Doing things specifically to trigger you, posting things aimed at you. Creating situations designed to force a response. But you give them nothing, and that nothing is everything. That void is violence. That absence is assault. Your silence has become a language they can't learn. A code they can't crack. A message they can't decode, but can't stop trying to understand. Every day you don't respond is another day they spend responding to your non-response. You've made them argue with air. This is psychological warfare at its finest. You're not fighting them, you're letting them fight your shadow. You're not defeating them, you're letting them defeat themselves. You're not destroying them, you're letting them self-destruct against the wall of your indifference. You've done something irreversible. You've locked yourself into their legacy forever, not as a chapter they can close, but as the entire book they can't rewrite. Not as a character in their story, but as the author who changed the ending. Every future relationship will be compared to your intensity. Every future achievement will be measured against your growth. Every future version of themselves will be haunted by the version you became without them. You're the high score they can't beat, the record they can't break, the standard they can't reach. Years from now, they'll still be telling stories about you. Not fondly, but obsessively. Not with love, but with something between fear and fascination. You'll be the cautionary tale they tell, but secretly the transformation they wish they could achieve. You've become immortal in the worst way for them, not as a memory they can cherish, but as a reminder they can't escape. Not as history they can reframe, but as a reality they have to face every time they look in the mirror and see someone who had you and lost you. Someone who pushed you and unleashed you. Someone who said, "Don't do it," and created the very reason you had to do it twice.